Have you ever wondered why some women seem to attract everything that it is that they want in life, while others seem to constantly be in survival mode? Well, in this video, I'm going to be explaining the 4 stages of divine feminine energy based on my 15 years of experience coaching women. Not only that, but also healing my own wounded feminine energy, where in 4 months I was able to manifest a provider, protector husband. Within a year, I was living in different countries. And now we have multiple businesses that bring in money, sometimes on autopilot, like this YouTube channel right here. And it all goes down to the fact that I moved through these 4 stages that I'm going to be teaching you today. Once you master these 4 stages of divine feminine energy, and I'm going to be explaining how it works in every area of your life. So generally speaking, I'm also going to talk about how it works in dating and relationships, and I'm going to talk about how it works with money. Everything in your life starts to change. Hi, my name is Amanda. Welcome to this channel where we talk about how to manifest what you want in life without all the extra stress, chaos, and drama that most people are accustomed to. If that's something you're interested in, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel. We've been going really deep on divine feminine energy, nervous system regulation, healthy relationship dynamics, manifestation, you name it, we got it. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up because it helps us with our mission of getting in front of more and more women. There's so many women from all over the world who are finding this channel right now, and I keep getting emails and messages like, thank you so much for clarifying relationships or the psychology of men or nervous system regulation because nobody taught me this stuff. So you can help spread the word and you can help lift collective consciousness, quite honestly, by just giving it a like or sharing it with a girlfriend. As always, if I have trainings or resources available that add more meat to what I'm going to be talking about today, I will let you know throughout the video itself. And for those of you who are interested in private coaching, we've been getting a lot of applications recently. You can actually sign up in the first link in the description. You can apply, and if you're approved, you will get an email from me and we will take the next steps. Okay. I need y'all to grab a tea, a coffee, a matcha, water, whatever for this one, because I get the feeling this one is going to be a bit longer because I want to make sure that we go really deep into these concepts so that you can identify where you might be on this spectrum. Now, this is a spectrum that I've created over the last few years. As I mentioned, I've been coaching women for 15 years in different areas of their lives. I also learned a lot from men and actually got coached by men for a lot of these things and understand their perspective. So I've taken all of these different things that I've learned throughout the years from my experience and created these 4 stages of divine feminine energy that women have to move through in order to start, quite frankly, getting what it is that they want in their lives and really moving through 4 stages of consciousness. Now, I got to be really honest with you. Most women are not going to be able to handle what I'm going to be talking about today. Most women are going to stay stuck in like stage 1 or stage 2, and that's fine. Some women make it to stage 3, but it's rare. So I want you to make a commitment to yourself right now that you're going to commit to learning what these things are. You're going to commit to becoming a self-aware woman, and you're going to commit to personal responsibility as I start going through these things, and also brutal honesty with yourself so you can determine where you are. Now, the good news is that if you found a video like this or subscribe to this channel, you probably really like personal growth. So you are in that small percentage of people in the world who are actually going to do something about their lives. And those are the ones who actually get the results that it is that they're looking for. They get the money that they want to make. They get the relationships that they want to make. They get the health. They get a good life. In other words, it doesn't mean that problems don't exist. Of course they do. They just handle them in a different way that has more peace and more calm. So if that's something that you want in your life, you really need to understand these stages and how to move through them. And every single training I'm creating has to do with moving you through these 4 stages. The final thing that I want to say here is that this actually used to be 6 stages that I created a few years ago. If you were on my business channel or a marketing and sales training company, you may have seen me talking about the feminine CEO and the stages that a feminine CEO must move through in order to build a business that can run without her and makes money a lot more easily. So that was the foundation for these 4 stages that I've created right now. The difference is that with these 4 stages, number one, I simplified it, and number two, these are 4 stages that are based on every single area of your life rather than just running a business. So let's get into it. Stage 1 is the wounded maiden. Now, you might hear a lot of archetypal language. There's a reason for that. The reason why we use archetypes all throughout the world is because it doesn't matter what culture you're in or where you come from. When you use archetypes, you understand what is going on, and it is universal. The maiden is one of those, and a wounded maiden is certainly one of those. So here are the core characteristics of the wounded maiden. The wounded maiden is in wounded feminine energy, and she has very deep insecurities. You might notice that she has a tendency for perfectionism and people pleasing. She might have this entitlement about her mixed with a victim mentality. So these are people who go around blaming everybody else for their problems and thinking the world owes them something. That's how that might look, or it might be the doormat who can never seem to lift herself up. She is usually always seeking permission and approval from others, even when she's yelling that she doesn't. That's usually how you know, is she's yelling about it. She has a blame-focused mindset, so everything is somebody else's fault, okay? This is very wounded feminine energy. There's usually also a lot of drama, emotional volatility, as a way to get attention a lot of the time. So you'll notice that women who are in this wounded feminine, they're either in the entitled camp and there's a lot of drama, so they think the world owes them something because they're constantly a victim of their circumstances. They're usually the ones banging on tables, yelling about what it is that's owed to them. And you'll also notice that there's a lot of drama in their lives. There's a lot of drama, then usually they are the center of the drama, if we are being honest. So you might also notice in this particular stage that she struggles financially and professionally. The reason why she struggles financially and professionally in this case is because she has still not learned how to cultivate masculine energy, or co-opt it, really, masculine energy within her in order to have discipline, consistency, and skills that are needed to take care of herself. Because before we get with a man who's going to be taking care of us, we also need to learn how to take care of ourselves. Otherwise, we put ourselves in desperate situations and then we lack discernment. So that's one of the reasons why we want to do that. And this archetype is also always waiting for someone else to save or rescue her, because again, she doesn't take personal responsibility for anything. It's always somebody else's fault or somebody else's problem, or someone else needs to come fix it for her. So here are the dating and relationship patterns for the wounded feminine. This particular archetype tends to attract feminized, passive men who lack direction. She can also attract controlling men who want to fix her, to put it that way. She attracts emotionally unavailable men who trigger her wounds. She also attracts men who are wounded themselves and also seeking a rescue, because remember, this is all just a mirror when we are in relationships. And she will attract players who exploit her insecurities. She will also attract predators who exploit her. So this is very important to understand. The way that she shows up when she is in dating situations is she has desperate energy that repels quality men. She gives her power away immediately, so she has like zero boundaries. She becomes obsessed after one date. So a lot of women have this tendency to become obsessed with men, and honestly, sometimes become obsessed with men where there was literally never anything there, right? But they've created this fantasy in their minds and they become very obsessed with it. That's usually a wounded maiden quality when it comes to dating. She also tolerates poor treatment because she doesn't believe that she deserves any better, or she likes the drama, and she uses manipulation and drama to get attention. So one area where you can really see this is with like Spanish soap operas, if you guys have ever seen them. I'm in Mexico right now. Mexico is kind of famous for soap operas and novelas and things like that. And I am Latina, so I grew up with my grandparents watching them. You will see this archetype all over the Mexican novelas, and I'm sure the Colombian and the Brazilian and all the novelas and all the soap operas, you will find an archetype like this. You will find that horrible, manipulative, dramatic woman who just destroys everybody's life, right? So that will be an example, and she's in wounded feminine energy. And again, like it's such a typical trope in the novelas that you can find very easily, right? And I'm sure in other entertainment around the world you can see it, but I happen to be in Mexico right now, and that happens to be a big deal in Mexico. And I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, literally in every single series, you will find one of those, and she's usually the villain. By the way, or you'll have like the really nice girl who's a doormat, and then they juxtaposition them against each other really a lot of the time, right? So if you want a really good example of this wounded maiden archetype, just go find some novelas. Just go find some soap operas from Latin America. Right? She also has no boundaries or standards, and in her relationship dynamics, she comes off as, well, she doesn't come off, she is codependent and has unhealthy attachments. I recently had a comment come in here that said, well, am I to become codependent or independent? Neither. You are to become interdependent. And those of you who are asking that question, this training is going to help you kind of determine which one is which and where you should be in that dynamic. So in the wounded maiden is constantly in codependent and unhealthy attachments. She has this constant need for reassurance and validation. She creates drama to feel alive and important. And she gives everything away, hoping that some man is going to choose her. She attracts men who drain her energy. Her relationships are usually very volatile or short-lived, or on again, off again, on again, off again. She's always the victim in relationship stories. Always. She is always the victim. She takes no responsibility for literally anything. The communication style is that she's usually passive aggressive. When she's hurt, she has emotional outbursts and blames everybody. She has indirect communications through hints and manipulation. She takes absolutely everything personally as a personal attack on her, and she cannot handle conflict or criticism constructively. And here are some of the red flags that she ignores. She ignores inconsistent communication from men. She ignores lack of effort or investment. She ignores disrespectful treatment. She ignores emotional unavailability. She ignores controlling behavior, and she ignores financial irresponsibility. So here's what needs to happen. And actually, before I get into that, let me tell you what she looks like in money, right? So that's in relationships. Let's look at money. When it comes to money, right, she has deep scarcity programming and fear-based thinking, meaning the money's always going to run out. So there's like a huge focus on money. She believes that money is scarce and hard to come by. This is why you'll see women working 3 jobs and they still don't make enough money. She views money as something that happens to her, not something that she creates herself. She oftentimes has a poverty consciousness, or she has entitlement without effort. So it's the women who believe that they, for example, like deserve a man to pay for everything, but she puts like 0 effort into anything herself. Most men don't like that, by the way. She believes she needs to be rescued financially. Again, you will see this in the novelas. There's this need to be rescued financially. Money triggers shame, fear, or inadequacy. And she may have beliefs that, money is the root of all evil, or rich people are bad, or some rich man is going to come save me. That's another one in which it comes out. So the earning patterns here are she struggles to make consistent income on her own. She's often underemployed or in survival jobs. She may not work at all, and then depending on others for support. And that there's a difference between that and like being with a provider husband who says, babe, don't worry about it, you don't have to work. There's a difference between the two, right? Because in one of them, she doesn't have the capability to earn. In the other one, oftentimes women do have a capability to earn and they're just choosing not to because their husband is like, hey, I'll take care of stuff. So there is a difference, right? One is coming from a place of victimization, and the other one is coming from a place of actually having choices and options and then choosing not to. When she does work, it's often in low paying or unstable positions. She lacks skills or confidence to command higher pay. She may self sabotage opportunities for advancement. She's often fired or quits jobs due to drama or emotional volatility. And her spending behaviors look like emotional spending in order to fill internal voids. It looks like impulse purchases without planning or budgeting. It looks like overspending on appearance to attract a rescuer. So oftentimes this is women who are only focused on their looks and develop literally nothing else because they think it's all based on looks. Again, watching a Mexican novela now where the main character is literally this. Her name is Ruby, if you want to go check it out. But this is literally the main character, and the main villain is all of this. In addition to that, she may use shopping as a therapy or validation. She's often in debt or living paycheck to paycheck. She may steal, manipulate, or use others for money, including your man, right? If you're not careful, right? Which again, novelas, that's literally what happens. And then she spends money that she doesn't have in order to maintain an image. When it comes to financial relationships, she expects others to support her, but from a place of entitlement, not from a place of worthiness. She may use financial manipulation to control relationships. She attracts partners who either rescue her or are equally broke and need rescuing themselves. She creates a lot of financial drama and crisis to get attention. She often borrows money and doesn't pay it back. She views wealthy people with resentment and jealousy. So envy is really big with the wounded maiden archetype. And her money blocks sound like, I'm not good with money. Money doesn't matter. Someone else should take care of me. I deserve to be provided for without contributing a damn thing. And rich people are greedy and evil, or I am jealous of rich people. Again, envy is really, really big with the wounded maiden. Here's what needs to happen with the wounded maiden. The wounded maiden, in order to move on to the next stage, this is what needs to happen. And unfortunately, most people are going to stay stuck here. It is what it is. Most women will stay stuck here until they do the following. Take radical personal responsibility for your life and your choices and what you're doing and what you're thinking and what you're believing and how you're acting. Begin healing core wounds and trauma. Develop basic self-worth and boundaries, and learn to self-soothe, regulate their emotions, start building toward financial independence, and recognize toxic patterns in relationships. Okay, and again, unfortunately, most women are probably going to stay stuck here until they decide to take radical personal responsibility for their lives. So stage 2 on this divine feminine energy journey is the awakening warrior. Now, this is about taking responsibility and building strength, right? So once you've decided that you are no longer a victim of everything, then you move into stage 2. Now, the core characteristics here are awakening to personal responsibility. So one day realizing, oh my gosh, the common denominator is me, right? And waking up to that, developing self-awareness about negative patterns, building assertiveness and boundaries. So she is neither passive, which is a wounded feminine energy, and she is also not aggressive or entitled. Assertive is somewhere in the middle. Embracing masculine energy for structure and discipline. I've gotten a few emails in the last week from women who are like, I'm so feminine, I'm so feminine and elegant, but I lack structure in my life. I lack discipline, and that causes a problem. So if that's you, congratulations, you are self-aware. And what you need to do is start embracing masculine energy in your own life so you have structure, you have consistency, and you have discipline. These are not bad things. These are very good things. And what happens a lot of time is that women will find this work about divine feminine energy and they'll rechazarlo. They will throw the baby out with the bathwater, and they will be like, "Oh, I'm not going to do anything that's masculine energy," and you can't survive in the world. You can't life with that kind of an attitude, because the reality is that you need discipline, you need consistency, you need structure. Imagine if you want to go make money, but you don't have consistency or discipline. Imagine if you want to stay fit and go to the gym, but you don't have consistency or discipline. Well, then you're not going to get anywhere, right? So that's why it's important. Now, at this stage, right, you're working hard and becoming self-reliant. You're starting to make money and save yourself. Okay, instead of waiting for other people to save you, you are beginning to become proactive instead of reactive. So the wounded feminine is the wounded maiden is very reactive to everything going on around her, and she's this person, the awakening warrior, is committed to personal growth and change. When it comes to dating and relationships, here's what the changes that we start to see. She's going to still attract some feminized men, but there will be fewer of them. She might start attracting men who are intimidated by her new strength. So those of you who are like, I have all this stuff, but the men are intimidated, you might be here, right? Or you might be in the next level. And some men are intimidated, but healthy men are not. But that's why you're still attracting some feminized men. You may attract workaholics and ambitious men who are emotionally unavailable. That was me for a while. You may attract men who want her to want you to tone it down. And then you'll get some quality men who appreciate your growth. But the other thing that sometimes tends to happen here is you will get friend zoned, just so you know. And you know what? Not a bad thing while you are working on yourself. Now, here's how she shows up in dating. She's more confident, but sometimes overly aggressive. She has standards, but she might be too rigid about them. She can be intimidating to men with her new assertiveness, especially if you're in that in-between stage where you're like, oh, I was attracting all these feminized men before, and now I'm moving into this new stage, and now I'm in this weird in-between. It's kind of normal at that stage. Sometimes she operates in masculine energy during dates. I've done a lot of videos about this. She has better boundaries, but she may have put the boundaries up so high that now she's defensive because she's trying to avoid all the drama that she was having before. So she may swing in the other direction. She is more financially independent and proud of it at this stage. And she can start coming across as, I don't need anyone. So this is where we start going overboard with the independent, and that can also cause issues in relationships, also in other areas of your life. Now, when it comes to the relationship dynamics, it's much healthier than stage one. Okay, this is a step up from the wounded maiden, as if we are in awakening warrior. A lot of women who come to me are in this stage of their lives, or they're in the following stage of their lives. But a lot of you are probably here if you're watching a YouTube channel like this, right? So in dating, in relationship dynamics, like I said, it's a lot healthier than stage one, but she's still kind of learning that balance. She's in a little wonky in between space, right? Where she may swing too far in the other direction in order to protect herself from everything she was experiencing in stage one, which again is a normal way to behave in that type of a situation. So don't worry about it too much, just become self-aware. She can attract men who want her to take care of them. There are men out here who will find women who still have lower self-confidence, because you do have lower self-confidence here. You're still a little shaky in that department or with the insecurities. And there are men out here who know that and will purposely target you in order for you to take care of them. There was recently a TikTok that started going viral of a homeless man teaching other homeless men how to target women like this so that they get free room and board for like 6 months. So just know that this is out there, right? And in this stage, if you stay too much here, you kind of make yourself a target to those types of men. And that's why I am letting you know about it, because you need to evolve out of this stage in order for that not to happen. Now, the good news is that at this stage, right, she is better at leaving bad situations. But the reality is that she can be controlling as she learns to use her power, and she's still learning how to be vulnerable in healthy ways, right? So this is about, remember I say that feminine energy, when you want to emotionally connect with a man, you have to be vulnerable, but there's healthy and unhealthy ways to do it. And when we're at this stage, you're still learning kind of like the dance between the healthy and the unhealthy way of doing it. The communication style, right? More direct, So it's great because she's not manipulating like she was before, but sometimes harsh. She's better at expressing needs, but she may be demanding still, again, because you're learning that balance, and that's okay, right? Because we're going to keep moving forward on this journey. She can be confrontational when she's triggered. She's learning to set boundaries. And sometimes what happens when you're learning to set boundaries for the first time and you've never set them before, you will go to an extreme in setting the boundaries, right? So because you're still learning kind of what that balance is and what a healthy boundary is. And then sometimes she will use a masculine communication style. Now, when it comes to money, the way that this tends to show up, and we talked about it a little bit already, but when it comes to money, the money mindset is right. She realizes she must take responsibility for her financial life, which again is a step up, right? So we're moving up. And she sometimes will tend to develop an I'll show them mentality about money. I definitely had this for a while, like proving people wrong or something like that. She believes money comes through hard work and struggle. Okay, very important, and most people are here when it comes to money. Money must come through hard work, struggle, the sweat of my brow, hustle culture, all that kind of stuff. Now, she may swing from scarcity to aggressive pursuit of wealth. Okay, I definitely went through this too, right? So, 1 minute you might be like freaking out, and then the next minute you're going harder than you've ever gone hard before because you are aggressively pursuing wealth. A lot of times people will do this because they think that the money is going to be some form of protection against bad things, and in some ways it is. So it's not uncommon for people to come to this conclusion, but it's not necessarily a healthy way of relating to money, and it will make making money a lot harder for you. Now, she also views money as security and independence. And she often has a never again attitude about being broke. I've been here too, right? And she begins to see money as a tool for freedom. The earning patterns are that she works extremely hard. She oftentimes has multiple jobs or long hours. Sometimes those of you who run businesses get stuck here because you're working like 12-hour days, 7 days a week. That might be another way in which it shows up. She may start a business or a side hustle on the side of her job to get an escape plan from her job, which is a good thing. But again, there's like a lot of working going on in this stage. She focuses on trading time for money. She's often in masculine energy careers, so think sales, corporate, lawyer, doctor, engineer, that type of stuff, right? Either very competitive careers or very analytical careers is where you will oftentimes find her. She builds skills and expertise to command higher pay. She may become a workaholic in order to prove her worth, and she's often successful, but it comes at a cost, and usually the cost is her health or her relationships. Now, her spending behaviors look like she may be more disciplined with spending than in stage one. She may swing to extreme frugality or deprivation. She invests in herself, normally education, skills, business. She will go all in on all of that. She can be tight with money due to fear of returning to being broke. She may overspend on status symbols in order to prove success. She is better at budgeting and planning, and she sometimes hoards money due to scarcity fears. When it comes to her financial relationships, she's fiercely independent, but she may refuse help when it is needed. Okay, so she's going overly into the masculine and overly into the independent. She attracts partners who want to support them financially, like the example I gave of that homeless guy on TikTok putting other homeless guys on game, right? So be aware of that. She may use money to control or prove her worth in relationships. So she'll pull the purse strings, right, in order to maintain control in a relationship. She is often the breadwinner in relationships, which can create a relationship imbalance. She can be very judgmental of others who aren't as financially driven as her, and she may sacrifice relationships for financial goals. Now, the money blocks here sound like I have to do everything myself. No one is as good as me. That's another way in which it shows up. Money only comes through hard work and struggle. If I'm not working, I'm not worthy. I can't trust anyone else with money, or period. And rest is lazy, right? Rest is something that only lazy people do, right? So that's another way of looking at it. Now, so we're in stage 2. In order to start moving into stage 3, here are the growth areas. So at this stage, what's happening with a woman is she's still a little wonky, right? It's almost like she has like her training wheels on, and then we're like slowly going through the motions. So she has to learn when to use masculine versus feminine energy. She is still balancing independence with receptivity. Because again, it's not codependence or independence, right? It's interdependence, and that's a balance. She can grow in terms of attracting masculine men instead of intimidating them, and she can start developing emotional intelligence alongside her newfound strength. So here's what needs to happen. She needs to learn the difference between masculine and feminine energy, which if you're watching this YouTube channel or you've taken our trainings and our programs, you're doing. She needs to understand when to lead and when to receive. She needs to develop emotional intelligence and vulnerability. She needs to learn to attract rather than to chase or control. And she needs to learn how to balance independence with openness to partnership. Okay, again, it is a balance. Now, a lot of you might hear this and you're going to be like, ding, 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 that's me, because that's where a lot of women are these days. Congratulations, you now have self-awareness around that. And what I don't want to happen is you hear this and then suddenly you're like, oh, I'm living life all wrong, right? Let me just stop doing all of these things. That is definitely not what you want to do, because at this stage, although you are in survival, at least you are in a better stage than you were before, and we do not want to regress. What we have to learn here, right, is learn the balance of the masculine and feminine energies, and we have to learn a different set of skills, right? So it's not throwing away the skills that we have up until this point, particularly the money-making ones. It's simply learning new skills. And one of those skills being emotional intelligence. One of those skills being, how do I balance independence with being open to a relationship? These are all skills, and also new beliefs and things like that. So don't listen to this and be like, I need to go quit my job. Don't do that. Please don't do that, right? And realize that we don't need to be going to extremes like that. The reason why you're still going to extremes in this stage is because you're still getting your training wheels, or for example, you're getting your pilot's wings, to put it that way. So now we move on to stage 3, and stage 3 is what I call the conscious queen. So this is about integrating energies and starting to attract quality into your life. So here are the core characteristics, right? When it comes to your personal energy as the conscious queen, she is integrating both masculine and feminine energies skillfully. Again, it's not one or the other. It's not throwing out the baby with the bathwater. It's about knowing when to use what, right? It's strong boundaries, but with a soft, open heart. So at this point, you know how to express those boundaries without being defensive. It's about financial success through leverage systems rather than just hard work. I could do a gazillion trainings just on that from having spent 15 years in entrepreneurship. She's confident, but she's not defensive. She's self-aware and emotionally intelligent. She creates value and abundance in her life. She has visionary thinking and practical execution, or she gets people around her who are very good at the practical execution. She starts learning that process, and she starts cultivating magnetic and attractive energy. Now, in dating and relationship, here's what she's going to be experiencing. She's going to be attracting high-quality masculine men who want to provide. She's going to start attracting emotionally available and commitment-minded men. She's going to be attracting successful men who appreciate her strength and her femininity. She's going to attract men who want to build something together with her. And she's going to start attracting provider-minded men who see her as wife material. Okay, now, here's how she shows up in dating and in relationships. She embodies feminine magnetism while maintaining standards. So again, it's I have the standards and I'm strong in the standards, but I'm open, right? She's confident without being aggressive. So she's not yelling about what men need to be giving her. She is receptive and appreciative while also staying discerning, okay? As you move up on these levels, you're going to learn a lot about discernment and how important it is to be discerning when you are on your feminine energy journey. She uses feminine energy to inspire masculine pursuit. She creates space for men to step up and lead. She maintains her own life while still being open to partnership, and she communicates her needs clearly and gracefully. Now, in relationship dynamics, it looks like attracting healthy, stable relationships. It's knowing how to be vulnerable without losing yourself. It's about creating polarity that creates attraction and devotion. She starts knowing how to do this in stage 3. In stage 2, she has no idea how to do this because, to be honest, that's not even the work of stage 2 necessarily. The work of stage 2 is to start getting out of the survival mode you were in stage 1. Right? From there, she inspires men to commit and provide. She balances giving and receiving naturally, and she builds partnerships based on mutual respect and growth. She starts becoming a lot more discerning about who she's giving her time and her energy to. Her communication style, she speaks from feminine energy. She is soft but clear. Again, not demanding, not pounding on tables, not fighting, not aggressive. She uses appreciation and encouragement to motivate, which is like magic to men when you do that. She can express her needs without demands or ultimatums. She handles conflict with grace and emotional intelligence, and she creates safety for masculine expression. She starts having like dating and relationship mastery. So at this stage, she understands masculine psychology and what inspires commitment. She uses conversation skills that create very deep connection. She knows how to be mysterious without being manipulative and playing games. That's a stage 1 behavior, is the manipulation. She maintains standards while being warm and approachable, and she attracts pursuit through magnetic feminine energy. Now, when it comes to money, this is what it starts to look like when it comes to money. So her money mindset is that she understands money as energy that flows. She believes in abundance and in multiple income streams. She sees money as a tool for impact and contribution. She balances masculine strategy with feminine flow, so knowing how to have the masculine structure and, for example, the creativity, and the inspiration, which is more of the feminine. She values time freedom over just accumulating money. She understands the power of leverage and systems. So this might look like, for example, if you run a business, that might look like automations, for example, for those of you who are wondering. Money feels good and very natural to receive at this stage. Her earning patterns are she creates leveraged income through systems, teams, and passive streams. So for example, I do this with Mindful Success Path. I make videos that I'm inspired to make. Then I combine that with the analytics and what YouTube is telling me to do, which is that masculine strategy. And then you can just buy stuff or sign up for coaching with me. This is very different from how I used to run businesses when I was still in stage 2, when I was still that warrior. So that's an important distinction. And I can do more trainings on that for those of you who are interested in money specifically. She often has multiple revenue sources. She builds businesses that can run without her constant presence. So again, those automations. She charges premium prices for high value offerings. She works smarter, not harder. She may have investments, royalties, or recurring revenue. She focuses on impact and value creation over just hours worked. Focusing on just hours worked is very like poverty mindset. Wealthy people and people who get money know that it's not about how many hours you work, it's about the value that you actually create for people, and then that's what they're going to pay you for. Now, her spending behaviors are she invests in experiences, so growth and quality of life. She spends money to buy back time, so think assistance, services, etc. She makes decisions based on value, not just price. She's generous with others while maintaining boundaries. She invests in her appearance and environment. She balances saving with enjoying money. She uses money to create more money. And in her financial relationships, she attracts partners who are also financially successful, at least on par with her. She can receive financial support without losing independence. She creates win-win financial partnerships. She may combine resources to build something bigger together. She's comfortable with different financial roles in relationships, and she uses money to enhance relationships, not control them. So money blocks being healed look like I don't deserve to be wealthy. This is what she's healing at this stage. Making money is hard. I have to choose between money and love, very common. Feminine women can't be good with money, also very common, and I have to sacrifice everything for success. These are the mindsets that you start overcoming when we are at a stage 3, when we are the conscious queen. Now, what happens is how do we start moving on? So at this stage, when you're on the conscious queen, you've already begun to master certain things. So at this stage, you already begun to master the 5 pillars of feminine magnetism. It's receptivity, radiance, appreciation, playfulness, and mystery. And for those of you who want to go deeper into that, make sure to check out the Feminine Magnetism Mastery Program because it goes into these 5 pillars. She understands energy switching between masculine and feminine energy as needed. She's mastering this at this point. She's attracting commitment through inspiration, not pressure, because she's also attracting a higher quality man at this point. She's creating relationships where she's cherished and provided for, and she's building wealth through systems and feminine flow rather than just hustle. Okay? So now we get to stage 4, and stage 4 is the magnetic empress. I love the archetype of the empress. I know everybody loves to use queen. I'm more of an empress girl. I'm like queen of all queens. Let's go. So at this stage, we're talking about effortless magnetism and abundant love and resources. Okay? So here are the core characteristics. Her personal energy looks like effortless magnetism and natural charisma. It's not something you have to work at. It's just naturally in you. There's a perfect integration of masculine structure with feminine flow. She has an abundance mindset in all areas of her life, and she's good at receiving it. She's a visionary leader who inspires others. Money flows easily through aligned systems, team support, things like that. She's deeply connected to her intuition and her inner wisdom, and she follows it. She is surrendered to some sort of a higher power, usually. She radiates confidence, joy, and inner peace, and she's a natural mentor and guide for other women. Now, when it comes to dating and relationships, the men that she attracts tend to be healthy men who are emotionally intelligent and ready for partnership. Successful men who want to build empires together. Provider men who see her as their queen and inspiration, as their muse, is another way of putting it. Men who are excited to commit and create a legacy with her. High value men who pursue her consistently and with devotion. And here's how she shows up in dating and relationships. She's naturally magnetic without any effort or strategy. She embodies the energy of a queen that men want to serve and protect. She creates instant attraction through her presence alone. She inspires men to be their best selves. There's a difference between teaching a man and inspiring a man. Women who are in stage 2, for example, where you're still in that warrior energy, a lot of you get caught up in teaching a man. What you need to learn how to do is inspire a man, because that's what the magnetic empress knows what to do, and that's what actually lands in the brain of a man for him to start doing better as well based on his psychology. She effortlessly maintains mystery and allure. She receives masculine energy gracefully and appreciatively. She commands respect through her energy, not just her words. And in relationship dynamics, it looks like she creates relationships where she's worshipped and adored. She inspires deep devotion and commitment naturally. It's not something she has to force, it just happens. A lot of times you'll hear people who get into relationships saying, yeah, it was just so natural. It just happened. I remember when I first met my husband, there was someone in my life who was like, okay, well, like, who's texting who and who's playing the game and who's doing what? I'm like, neither of us, right? Right? So it's just like a natural progression that happened, right? So that's kind of what it means by that. She also attracts partners with men to build something greater than themselves. I've oftentimes said, like, couples who have like businesses together or some sort of a big goal together, they actually have lower divorce rates than most people because there's something bigger than them that they are working toward. She maintains her individual power while creating very deep intimacy. She generates polarity that keeps the passion alive long term. She builds relationships that are both passionate and peaceful. Relationships are not supposed to be dramatic. They're actually quite peaceful. Now, her communication style is that she speaks with authority of a queen but the warmth of a goddess. She uses feminine influence to create win-win outcomes. She knows how to communicate and influence her environment, and especially the men around her, because you have to communicate with men in a specific way in order for it to land in their brains in a way where they are inspired to do better rather than you trying to control them and command them to do better. Controlling and commanding does not work on healthy men, but inspiration does. She also communicates desires through energy and inspiration. She handles any situation with grace and wisdom, or at least most of them, because no one's perfect. She creates safety for deep masculine expression and vulnerability. Oftentimes, this is when you will hear guys saying things like, she's my peace, right? Like, I come home and she's my peace. That's what they're referring to. Now, in this stage, she has relationship mastery. So men propose and commit quickly because they recognize her rare value. This is rare for a woman to know how to do in this day and age. And when men spot it, especially men who've dated a lot of women. My husband dated a lot of women before he got to me. And as soon as he saw me, he's like, she's the one. Right? And that's when you hear men saying things like that, like, she's the one. I knew right away. I knew before we were dating. I knew within a few weeks. I knew when I first met her. That's what's going on there. She also inspires masculine devotion through her feminine essence. She builds partnerships that enhance both people's lives exponentially. She attracts men who want to build legacies and dynasties with her, right? It's not about basic stuff. It's like, what's the legacy here? And the life mastery here is that she has systems, structures, and support that create a lot of freedom for her. Money flows through a lot of aligned action and feminine magnetism. You can ask my husband, I will have an idea for making money, and the next day it's making money. Right? That's how that shows up. She leads through inspiration rather than force, and she creates abundance that benefits everybody around her, and she lives in a flow state while maintaining practical success. Now, when it comes to money, here's what it looks like when it comes to money. At this stage, when you're the magnetic empress, your relationship with money is effortless abundance, right? So the money mindset is money flows to me naturally and effortlessly. She deeply believes in infinite abundance for everyone. She views money as a natural result of being in alignment. So, for example, I know that when I'm more in alignment with my purpose, I make money. I know when I'm more in alignment with joy, I make money. I know that when I'm more in alignment with what Spirit is telling me to do, I make money. She uses money as a force for good and transformation. She's completely comfortable with wealth and luxury. Now, this is where sometimes people start feeling uncomfortable and they have to work on their ability to receive more and more and more. She sees money as spiritual and energetic, not just practical. She believes that her presence and energy automatically create value. And the earning patterns here are money comes through multiple channels with minimal effort. She often earns through her influence, her wisdom, and her energy. She may have passive income that exceeds active income. She creates wealth through inspiration and vision. She often becomes an investor or wealth creator for others. Money flows through her natural magnetism and value, and she builds legacy wealth that impacts generations. Now, her spending behaviors may look like spending from abundance consciousness, not fear or scarcity, investing in beauty, luxury, and experiences that inspire her. She could be a generous philanthropist and supporter of causes. She can create beautiful environments that reflect her inner abundance. She spends money to amplify her impact and her influence. She never worries about money because it flows consistently either through her provider husband or the systems that they've set up, or it can come in so many different ways. I'm in this stage now where there's money coming into this household in so many different ways that it's kind of mind-blowing. She uses money to create more beauty and abundance in the world. And with her financial relationships, she attracts partners who want to build empires together. Again, it's that legacy. Money enhances rather than complicates relationships. She's often becomes the inspiration for others' financial success. So there's this interesting thing that happens with men that they could already be successful by the time that they meet their wives. But when they meet their wives and she's in feminine energy, they're going to make a lot more money. Like they could have already provided for her, but her inspiration is what makes this man go from, I've seen this happen with like millionaire to billionaire, for example, or he's making six figures and now he makes seven, right? It's because he got with the right woman, right? She multiplied it and she inspired him to do better. And oftentimes we will see that with men. And that's why, for example, high achieving and successful men oftentimes will credit their wives for their success. That's what that is. They are in their magnetic empress where they know how to inspire a man to go make more money. She creates financial abundance that benefits everyone around her, and she may be supported by partners who see her value beyond money. Of course, she's attracting provider men. She builds generational wealth and legacy with her partner. Now, the money mastery here sounds like money is a natural expression of my energy and value. I create wealth through alignment, not struggle. I inspire others to step into their own abundance. I use money as a tool for massive positive impact. I am completely free from money fears and limitations. And I embody the truth that feminine energy can create infinite wealth. Now let's go into the other areas of her life that she has mastered. Because the truth is that at this point, you're embodying a lot of things, right? At this point, a woman is embodying complete feminine magnetism that attracts everything she desires. She's a perfect balance of strength and softness. Oftentimes, it looks like grace. Like when a woman is graceful or graceful under pressure, that's oftentimes what that looks like when you hear that. She has natural leadership through feminine influence. She has an abundance consciousness in love, money, and life. She has a deep inner knowing and unshakable confidence, the ability to inspire transformation in others, and a life that serves as an example of what is possible. Okay, now I want to be clear about something. The first thing I want you to do is get clear on where you are in this assessment, and my husband's gonna have to make a quiz out of this, right? Or he's gonna have to help me make a quiz out of this to help you guys with it even more. But based on this, I want you to assess where you are and then leave it in the comment section. Where are you? Because when you have this self-awareness, then you know what steps you need to take next. The other thing I want to make sure you guys know is that sometimes you're moving through these different stages, and then depending on what area of life you're in, you might be, for example, in your relationships, you might be like, I got it, I'm the empress, I got a provider man. But then when it comes to money, you might be like at a stage 2, right? Or maybe even a stage 1. So sometimes depending on the different area of your life, you might be in a different stage. And the next thing that I want to let you know is that sometimes you're moving between the stages, right? So for example, there are moments when I'm definitely the magnetic empress, but I might slip back a little bit depending on what is going on. That would be an example. Or for example, if you're moving from, being the warrior to being the conscious queen, then there's there's moments of like, and being uncomfortable. And that's completely normal because you're kind of going back and forth while you're getting your training wheels, while you're getting your pilot's wings, and things like that. So all of those things are completely normal. And there's never a point where we reach total perfection with any of this, just so you know, which then it leads to the spiritual understanding that everything's a learning lesson, right? Everything is a lesson to help us in our own evolution and our consciousness. So I hope this helped you guys determine where you are on this journey, particularly when it comes to relationships and money and just kind of life in general, because those are the things I get asked about the most. If you're interested in private coaching with me, this is what we're doing. Is we're moving through these stages. We get very clear on where you're at specifically, and we create a game plan in order to start moving on to the next stage. I'm going to venture to say most of you are probably a stage 2. Those are the ones who are naturally attracted to my work. Some of you might be a little bit in stage 1 when it comes to money. Most of you are probably in stage 2. Maybe there's a few of you who've moved into stage 3. Either way, even if you're at stage 2 because you watch this YouTube channel, that is something worth celebrating because most women don't even get there. Most of the world doesn't even get there. So if you're like, I'm stage 2, oh, womp womp, celebrate it, because I'm telling you, most people don't even get out of stage 1. Right? And now you have awareness and you're like, okay, I know what I have to do moving forward in order for me to start getting what it is that I actually desire, whether it's a provider man, whether it's more money, whether it's a committed partnership, whether it's just more peace of mind, and more freedom. Now you know where you're at. So let me know in the comments below. If you liked this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Make sure to share it with a sister who may need it. You can find all the courses that we have available on these different subjects at mindfulsuccesspath.com/courses. I'll also put a QR code here for you guys. And you just kind of pick and choose depending on what it is that you need to work on at this very moment. Thank you so much for giving me your time today, and I will catch you on the next one.